St. Louis is one of the fastest growing cities for tech startups, so this is great news for people looking for work in the startup scene. But with new businesses constantly popping up, how do you find the job that's a good match for you? Job seekers may not have to look any further. There's one startup company dedicated to matching talent with startups, and it does this by getting people plugged in. HEC-TV's Phoenix Lee shows us what getting plugged in is all about.
More than 100 tech startups share space in the T-Rex building, and one of those companies provides a job matchmaking service to all of these startups, as well as others throughout the St. Louis area. The company is called PluggedIN St. Louis, and it was founded by entrepreneur Kathleen Berger. Her involvement in the St. Louis startup scene helped her come up with the name.
I found myself constantly using the phrase, let's find a way to get you plugged in. Whether it was a job seeker looking to join a startup company or a company looking to tap into the regional talent landscape. So we built an interactive job board which lists job openings with companies. And we have a variety of ways that we go out and find those individuals. So whether they're already in the pipeline, ready to go to work at a startup company and just figuring out which is the best match for them, or going out and recruiting them.
Along with being an entrepreneur, Liebig works as an industry career specialist for the Olin Business School at Washington University. Through this connection, she recruits talented graduates like Mark Bernstein, who found work after getting plugged in.
The most unique thing about PluggedIN St. Louis is that it really is plugged in. I've spoken with a bunch of people in a lot of the leading startups here in St. Louis. I've spoken with people very involved in the venture capital firms, with different universities, and being able to have that diversity of people who I'm speaking with trying to help me find a good career path is awesome.
Bernstein works at TopOps, a sales pipeline analytics startup. Before being matched, he tried other career services, but he says PluggedIN was different. It gave him more options.
Job seekers should know it's easy. It's really a friendly conversation and then a network that just opens up to you. And from there, you have the ability to go out and talk to these various companies, but it's not something where you are given a piece of help in the beginning and then you're on your own. The jobs are kind of brought to you, and it gives you a lot of power to be able to figure out where you want to go.
Job seekers say they know what they want. They just need to know where to look. So when they're plugged in, the search is done for them.
Rather than go and apply to each individual company, scouring job boards, trying to find out if the job is current, if you have the skill sets to meet those requirements, we will do that reviewing and match you to companies if we think that you're a good fit for the different roles that are open.
The matching process is simple. A job seeker can submit a resume and create an online profile. This information is then used to narrow down opportunities among a large network of startups in St. Louis. Liebig says companies are in need of talent, and PluggedIN is inclusive to all kinds of talent. For example, the service welcomes self-taught job seekers like Brian Maynard, who is currently being matched based on his skill set as a full-stack web developer.
So I actually didn't go to school. I actually didn't graduate high school. I got my GED and I went to college for a little bit, and I don't do well in formalized education. So I'm entirely self-taught. My background basically is worked really hard to learn technology and programming, and then what I really like is Colleen literally knows all the startups in St. Louis, all of them. And she's the go-to person, and that makes it so much easier. And called her up and told her what I was doing, and she gave me a couple options, went to the website, and found a place that looked completely awesome, and just started the process. It is by far the least intimidating, simplest, quickest way to figure out what's available, figure out what you'd be a good match for, and actually get moving. People have a choice to be picky. And so if all of that filtering is done for you, which it is with PluggedIN St. Louis, then all you have to do is show up and do your best at the interviews, and so much is taken out of the equation for you.
And so much more is offered to job seekers. PluggedIN St. Louis even helps those who are not ready to be matched.
We also provide insights to our job seekers. So emerging industries, trending topics, and in-demand skill sets that job seekers can use to build out their resume and prepare for a career path with a startup or a venture capital firm.
These insights are what inspired Liebig to create PluggedIN. The need to connect talent with companies is a result of St. Louis's growth as a tech startup community.
Almost every metropolitan city has a tech startup scene. I think that St. Louis is growing their startup ecosystem in a way that's very sophisticated. We have amazing incubators which house hundreds of startups. We have one of the most active seed investors in the country, Cultivation Capital. We are leading in the number of accelerator programs, industry-specific accelerators. In addition to that, we also have education centers like Launch Code and Claim Academy, which are literally generating tech talent.
And another place generating talent is Washington University, where Liebig sees the start of St. Louis entrepreneurship firsthand.
WashU is a world-class institution, and St. Louis is very lucky to have it here, and it's just a few miles down the road from the incubators and where a lot of the startup communities and innovation districts are expanding. And we're also seeing a lot of entrepreneurs come out of WashU and the Olin Business School.
St. Louis, for a long time, has had an enormous amount of really talented developers. They were just at big companies like MasterCard and Boeing and places like that. Nothing wrong with that. But when it comes to innovating and trying like real disruptive things, those businesses are just not built to do that.
He's referring to the startup culture, which is known for being innovative and disruptive. This simply means that startups are all about doing new things to create and sustain a business. What makes this possible are the people. According to Liebig, startups look to hire people who are creative and comfortable with ambiguity. They should have a growth mindset and are willing to do whatever needs to get done. They look for people who have an entrepreneurial mindset. Job seekers should also be eager to learn and develop their skills if they want to be part of the St. Louis startup scene.
I think something like PluggedIN St. Louis is really important because it gives people a single place to go to say, I want to come here and I want to do tech startups, point me in the right direction.
Liebig says PluggedIN can accomplish that because the matchmaking service is hyper-local, building careers with startups, whether there's an opening or not.
People ask what's the difference between our job board and a monster job board. The local piece is one, big one. We also connect candidates to companies regardless if the company has a job opening. If there's a skill set they have or a background in that particular industry that could transfer well to that company, then we'll match them.
PluggedIN St. Louis is a free service for job seekers, but it's still a business. Companies can post jobs at a low cost, and it's also low risk. They're provided a service that allows them to build the perfect team. For Innovations, I'm Phoenix Lee.